Hi, I'm Deanna Little and I teach flute at MTSU, and I'm very happy to be bringing you some tips for the 2024 MidState Flute Etudes. Should you have any questions, don't hesitate to email me at deanna.little@mtsu.edu. I want to congratulate you because if you're watching this video, there's a good chance that you are working on improving your flute playing by preparing the Mid-State Etudes. A couple of tips I wanted to throw at you. In my opinion, I think what you should be striving for as the number one thing is sound. Work towards playing with your most beautiful sound. Second tip I have for you: don't go faster than you can play everything as accurately and beautiful as you can. It's not a speed race. It's much more important for you to learn how to make a beautiful sound and learn the correct rhythms, the correct notes, and with a sense of musicality. Always, always, always practice slowly with a metronome when you're first learning the etude, so that way you don't learn it with mistakes. And lastly, the flute takes so much air. And one thing I find myself saying to all of my students and reminding myself of is to breathe. So breathe deeply and breathe fully and use your full breath of air to produce a sound on the flute. Good luck. Begin the 11 and 12 technical excerpt very slowly so that you can observe all accidentals and articulations. Notice in the first measure, you've got 2 beats of 16th notes and 2 beats of triplets. Also a dynamic shift from mezzo forte to piano. I recommend speaking the rhythms with a metronome so that you get into your body, shifting from 4 notes in a beat to 3 notes in a beat. And you'll find it very helpful if you can feel where the rhythm is going before you even pick up your flute to start to play the notes. Middle register E natural to F trill in the second measure. You're going to trill your right hand, second finger. You also have a trill on the third beat, A sharp to B natural. I finger 1 and 1, A sharp, and just trill my first finger. Measure 3 is tricky. Go slow. Each beat descends chromatically. Make sure that you tongue where it says because each beat is different. Measure 4 begins piano. I take a good breath before starting this measure. Practice changing from 8th note triplets to 8th notes that are duple. Make sure you carry over the middle register F sharp from beat 1 to beat 3. Beats 3 and 4 of measure 4 are staccato. Play them short with bounce. And be careful to not rush. Measure 5 and 6, once again, practice the changing rhythms verbally before picking up your flute. Observe all articulations in this etude at all times. It changes a lot, and you will serve yourself better and learn it quicker and learn it more effectively if you go slowly enough and make sure that the articulation is part of the learning process, not something you have to change later. Measure 5, totally chromatic. Measure 6, it slurs in 3s. Learn it slowly so you have time to process the accidentals. And then finally in measure 6, you have a turn on beat 4. It's an E natural, which turns to the note above, back to the note below, and back to it. Measure 7, vibrate on the high G and make it beautiful, and that ends the second phrase of the piece. Take a really great breath before you begin measure 8. It is marked con bravura, which means boldly and brilliantly, so play with confidence. Notice that D flat should be carried over from beat 2 to beat 3 in measure 8. Measure 9 is really a descending chromatic scale. Watch out for the articulation and show the descending chromatic line. When you get to measure 10, you have 4 notes that are mezzo piano with accents. I play them like bell tones, and then beats 3 and 4 are marked staccato and piano. So again, that's just a continuing chromatic descent to piano. Measure 11, the articulation is the same on each beat, and you crescendo to forte. Watch out for the last measure because the articulation changes and it's a little bit syncopated. And the last 3 notes of the piece, you have short, short bell tone. And also, don't slow down, it says non-retard. Do not play this excerpt faster than you can play it well. That means beautiful sound, right articulations, right notes, right rhythms, and with musicality. Good luck. The 11 and 12 lyrical excerpt has 6 sharps in the key, so practice your F sharp major scale as well as your F sharp minor scale in preparation of this excerpt. The opening scale looks very fast. Take care to not rush it. Yes, it's all in 1/8 note beat, but since it picks you up and starts you off into the excerpt, I recommend taking just a little bit of time so that it sounds effortless, clean, and gentle. Use a metronome and begin much, much slower than indicated. Measure 3, work on playing the changing rhythms. I recommend a little stretching of beat 1 to help it be clean and musical. Measure 4, I take a breath between the 2 A naturals, and then I take my time with the repeated G sharps. Measures 5 and 6, take care to work out the changing rhythms before you try to play it on your flute. Strive for a really rich low register in measures 5 and 6. And I use a do articulation, a legato tongue, so that it's smooth, but yet I'm striving for clarity. And you want the rhythm to be obvious. I chose in measure 7 to breathe after the downbeat A natural. I also experimented with breathing after the dotted 8th note C sharp. I think both of them can work. I finally chose between the A natural and the C sharp, just simply because that is what the phrase markings were showing. But also I felt like it helped to accentuate the syncopation of the 16th note to dotted 8th rhythm. both breaths can work. I think the important thing when you're breathing in a piece is to play it musically and make the breath be part of the music. Measure 7 is the peak of the excerpt, so play it warmly and play it full. Measure 7 and 8 consists of an F-sharp minor triad and a chromatic scale. So practice those things outside of the excerpt and become really very fluid with them so that they feel easy and effortless when you put them back into the excerpt. I also would prefer to hear you take a little time with measure 8 than to rush through it and be messy. Make sure you vibrate on the high F sharp leading into measure 9. Take a really full breath before the C sharp and measure 9, and that will take you to the end of the piece. Note that you're moving back into F sharp major, so work towards building into a full luscious sound so that you can get to a good fortissimo in the low register in the last measure. There's a retard, so slow down into the final F sharp trill. I also start the trill by making sure my low F sharp speaks with a good sound, and then I will do 2 flips of the real fingering, F sharp to G sharp, back to F sharp to G sharp, and then I just leave down my 3rd finger and I trill my pinky, and then to end the trill I hold the F sharp a bit. I think that this helps it to feel final, and it also helps me to achieve a fortissimo in the low register rather than just trilling wildly to the end. So once again, this is a challenging excerpt. So make sure that you practice it efficiently, practice it slowly so that you can give proper attention to the accidentals and the rhythms while maintaining a beautiful sound. And I believe that it is always better to go slower than marked if that is the way you're going to play it your best. Good luck.